like to talk.
Oh, because I'm streaming. Ah, there we go. All right. Let's see. Do you want to open it up on your end and see?
It says live. It looks like we're live.
Okay, cool.
Right.
There we go.
Hi,
We figured it out.
We figured it out. We did it. Hi everyone. Welcome to Link Cable's stream of Crusader Kings 2. My name is Alex. I've got Mark here who's going to be playing the game, and we're going to be checking this one out. It's a grand strategy game from Paradox. You might have heard about it. How long has this been out?
A long time.
A long time. Yeah, we're going to be streaming this one and kind of going through a bit of what this game's all about. So, yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on chat. If you guys got any questions or anything, let me know. We'll try to check it out. But I'm brand new to this, and Mark's an expert, so he's definitely going to be walking us through a bit. So
starting with the walkthrough, you can see, those of you who played the game, I have all the official DLCs. I'm playing with all the content packs except for the metal ones and the Christmas song ones. Who cares? But we're going to start in single player. So the big thing with Crusader Kings recently, you've seen my current games, Kind, 2015. So you have 5 start dates to choose from. You have the early Middle Ages, which is Charlemagne. The Viking Age, which is, as you might imagine, the Viking Age. The Iron Century is the newest start date they added, where King Otto refounded the Holy Roman Empire. And then we have the High Middle Ages, which is the original start date. And then we are probably going to go with Iron Century, point out these. So you get a little history lesson here, and then it shows you what characters they recommend you play. I don't like it when people tell me what to do, so I have to pick my own character. So in Iron Century, let me just load up the map here. So in Crusader Kings, you can play as pretty much any character, from Count all the way up to Holy Roman Emperor. I guess the closest to an emperor we have right now is the Byzantine Empire. I like to start let's do Germany. Hey, I've actually
perfect. Alright, so, that's a pacifier.
Yeah, pacifier to the spell. So if you go to
Very
easy, for example, playing as any of the Carlings is pretty easy, but playing as one of the guys in England that's fighting off the Vikings is pretty hard. And then you can also play as King Harold the Fairhair. It's one of my favorite starts. But we'll start as Germany, as King Otto of Germany. So Otto's just been crowned in this start date as King of the Germans. And now he needs to crush his rivals and retake Italy. When you start the game, you get a couple different options. Obviously, all the different things added by the DLC you can turn off. I always play in Iron Man mode because I'm not a scrub. Although I do turn off Aztec Invasion. So there are a few historical things you can see, like the Black Death and the Mongol invasions. Aztec Invasion basically is the Mongol invasion on the other side of the map. So the Aztecs come from North America and invade Europe. We're also probably not going to be doing too much Jade Dragon stuff where we are. You can't interact with China if you're too far away, and we're too far away.
And so how long is it? Like, we're in the year 936 right now.
You go until 1444, I think.
1444.
You can almost play for 700 years. I am going to turn So AI seduction and AI intrigue are two things. I'll talk about what way of life is later. But basically you can focus on just seducing as many people as possible. And they've added in a way for you to turn that off. If you have a less powerful CPU, this just creates a shitload of characters.
So this is definitely a game where even before you get started, you want to make, like, you're basically making the world you want to play in.
Yeah, and you can also, there's some options, like Shattered World is one where you just basically break up all the titles. Mm-hmm. And if you keep clicking Shattered World enough times, eventually you can play as an animal. So all the human characters get replaced by, like, dragons, mice, birds, ducks, that sort of thing. So you play as a succession of medieval rulers in a single dynasty. There's no set goal, but the world's filled with ambitious rivals. You can't hold an infinite amount of land, so you have your domain.
Okay.
So currently I hold 4, but I can hold up to 5 counties. I have 29 vassals, I currently have 20. And then gold is wealth, money. Prestige is how cool you are and how renowned you are. You can, having a big country doing impressive things will increase that. And then piety is how religious you are, how good of a Christian you are, or a Muslim, or a pagan, etc. So it's pausable in real time. The game starts out paused. We are not going to pause it, but we are going to switch to independent map. So right now we're in Germany. Everything gray is ours. Next to us we have the Duchy of Upper Lorraine, but they're currently paying tribute to the King of West Francia, King Carlos. You can see bloodlines. So that's a relatively new feature, I think, added by Holy Fury, is Bloodlines. So, this is our character, Otto. Otto is pretty good at warfare and intrigue, so you have 5 stats. So 8 isn't great, 10's usually a decent one. So he's pretty good at warfare and intrigue, which means he'll be able to plot better against people, and he'll probably have better armies. Every character has an education, so it's this little book on the end. So we have a red one with 3 stars, who's a skilled tactician. So you're anywhere from a flamboyant schemer to a Midas touch genius. He's an inspiring leader, so his armies have better morale. He was crowned by Bishop Frederick, so he gets an order after prestige. But he is greedy, ambitious, diligent, and envious. And they all have different effects on their skills, and will have different effects on people's opinions. You do not want your vassals to be ambitious. If they are, you probably want to kill them. So there's Henrik the Fowler, my father, and then I have 3 kids, Prince Wilhelm, Prince Rudolph, Prince Ludwig, Princess. My half-brother is So other characters, you have a couple different options. Or you can either sway, get them to like you, or antagonize and basically just shitpost and tell them they suck. And you can see right now, my brother's heir is me. So if I kill him, I get his titles.
Gotcha. Do you, is your so your King Otto of Germany, are you him essentially throughout the entire length, like through an unnatural lifespan?
No, until he dies.
Until he dies.
So you'll see he was born on the 23rd of November 912. Mm-hmm. When he dies, my son Ludolf becomes the king.
And you always play as the king?
Well, you pick your character. You play as whatever title they have.
Okay.
So I could, if I wanted to, play as Fegmar. But playing as a count is not very fun. Duke and above is playing as.
Just pay taxes and
Basically, and do whatever, and wait for your king to take away your titles. Now, every kingdom, county, dukedom, etc., is going to have different succession rules. So ours are agnatic elective, which means the only males can inherit, and there are a number of electors, and they pick who becomes king. So we can pick who we support. We're currently supporting our son, not our oldest son for whatever reason. Because he's a legitimized bastard. So we can inherit, but he's basically Jon Snow. So that's how characters work, and then you play as somebody else from my dynasty when I die.
Alright.
So he'll become it, and then his kids, etc., etc. These are the titles I have. So I'm King of Germany, Duke of Saxony, Count of Magdeburg, Lüneburg, Bourbon, and Zealand.
You're much better at pronouncing these than I would be.
I took German in history in high school. So I also have a claim on the Kingdom of Italy, a claim in the Duchy of Upper Lorraine. So we talked about him later. That's this duchy, but Kingdom of West Francia is currently protecting them. So probably don't want to do that right this second. And I also have a claim in the Duchy of Lower Lorraine. So these two. You can hold things outside of your traditional territory. So there's some de facto and de jure can play. So this is the Kingdom of Germany. as it stands right now, if I click the de jure button, I have a bunch of extra territory. So at any point, you can declare war to reclaim territory that should be yours, but given your title.
Right. So the ones, like, obviously look at the map. If it's gray, it's yours. Like, that's your entire kingdom. And then, but you have claims to satellite states.
Yeah, I have claimed to the King of Italy. So Hughes Bosman, but he's also married to my sister, so I probably have not.
Would you say this is a type of game that you need to have a good grasp of history?
No, it teaches it to you. You don't really need to. There's little bits, like if you click this little eye button up here, it explains how feudal governments work and what you can do in the game because of that. And then Catholicism. I mean, being a history buff and knowing a bit about the Middle Ages and how Catholicism worked back at this time helps. But really, it's get territories, expand or die.
Yeah. What are the win conditions? How do you
reach the end of the game? There's no win conditions. There's just a lose condition, which is die without having an heir.
Okay.
There's no second one.
So it's not like because you're not playing this specific campaign as Germany where you need to reach a certain point. Like you don't have to conquer Bohemia, let's say.
No. I mean, I'm probably going to. But like my goals, if we're playing as Otto, would be to take Italy and West Francia and all that. So my goal is to right now for me is to reform the Holy Roman Empire. So I'll have to take back Italy and then take back France. More or less. I guess we're Burgundy. Belf. Hey, which town we live in? Empire. So the Byzantines usually get devoured by the Romans pretty quickly, as they did in real life. Or the Bulgarians
So you said like as in real life, does this game take real life events and kind of have them scheduled to happen?
Yeah, so we haven't unpaused yet. The game hasn't really technically started. But we'll likely get a couple of events saying like, hey, Otto did this, you should too. If you play as Charlemagne, there's a whole story arc for him. And playing as certain big historical characters, like the original start date is the Battle of Stamford Bridge, where William the Conqueror, who was Duke of Normandy, so this is one of his ancestors, invaded England and threw out the King of England. Now this time Nora was also invading it, so you start out, if you start as England in the original start date, you kind of get double teamed. If you're playing in the Viking start date, the Old God start date, the King of Denmark, Kings of Sweden, this guy here, the Ivorings, they're also invading. But little events pop up like that. The Children's Crusade happens. No reformations per se, but you have like the Mongols show up eventually over here and just start taking over the map. Black Death will show up. You can control them and start doing things. So let's have a little bit of Otto. So I'd say Otto's first priority is probably securing an heir. So you have ambitions. So you can create a treasury, make friends. Prosper, become exalted among men, gain 5,000 prestige. That's buff. Let's groom an heir. So while we're grooming an heir, we want to have a child and see me reach adulthood. My inheritance law is agnatic, only a male child can fulfill this. So my fertility is increased by 20%. Once I have a child that reaches 12 years, I can introduce them to the realm and give them a bonus to all their vassals. Does my wife like me? My wife kind of likes me. So there's every other character has a court. Like you have a court, you have your characters. Vassals, plus nobody's might fill council. Or other rules in your kingdom, but you can interact with them. I'm going to send her a gift. I'm going to send her 15 gold, increase your opinion of me by 22.
So what is the? So she liked you at a 6. What is that out of?
So there's 0 to 100,
okay.
Or to negative 100.
Okay. So she was middle.
Yeah. I mean, very few people married for love in the Middle Ages. Like this, I'm married to the sister of the King of England. So I'm going to talk to him and try to see if we can form an alliance. No! Political concerns. It's a bit of a meme in the community.
Yeah.
Now, I think what part of that is probably because his sister, if I can go back to me, has a claim on the Duchy of Wessex. So if I invade him and take over the Duchy of Wessex, he gets that. He's also probably afraid because I was be invading him, so he doesn't want to get dragged into a war. Okay, and next we have our focus. This is something Way of Life added. So you can pick,
Yeah, 10 focuses.
10 focuses, and each of them pertains to a different stat. So there's two per stat. So rulership and business are stewardship, running your economy. War and hunting or warfare. Seduction and intrigue are for intrigue. I'll talk about the rest of them as we come up and maybe play other characters. I'm going to pick war for now, because that's what we're going to be doing. So you get +3 martial and +10 to your personal combat skill. So personal combat skill comes up in battles if you ever end up in a duel.
So your character, like, that's a personal stat to themselves?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then in the brackets you have your realm, so your state. So the higher these are, the more other numbers change, and I'll show those off in a second.
Gotcha.
So the other thing that lets me do is I can duel my rivals. Now I don't currently have any rivals, or any lovers, or any friends. Poor Otto. He's just got vassals and a wife. So I have a non-aggression pact with the King of England and my wife. She doesn't have any land. It's very unlikely she's going to attack me. Now it is possible. It might be possible she inherits England. Succession is selective. So it's very unlikely my wife is going to suddenly become King of England. Okay, what's next? Council. You have a council. Everyone counts and above. You can only play as counts. You can't play as barons, and you can't play as the pope. Everyone has a council. So I have a chancellor based on diplomacy. So all these sync up with your stats. So you find someone in your realm to represent that stat. Now, if we go down to my court chaplain, Prince Bishop Adelag, or whatever the frig his name is in Bremen, has a skill of 2 and is considered to be incompetent. And he also doesn't like me very much, so I'm going to pick somebody else. A point. This guy is 16 and a 16. Sounds good. So each of your counselors can do one of 4 jobs, and it depends. So this chancellor, for example, can perform statecraft. So just randomly, he'll make other people like you. So he'll also decay your threat, so you have a threat value. The more you expand, the higher your threat bills. You can only send him to improve relations with somebody else, like a specific person. You can fabricate claims, because that's how the Middle Ages worked. You made a document that said, this document says I live here, and all the peasants would say, I can't read. And then sow dissent is one of my favorites. You send someone to another country to make the vassals hate their liege. The marshal is you have your army, so you can organize your army, and it reduces your maintenance a bit, and also improves your commanders. You can also help you suppress revolts to keep the peasants from revolting, train your troops, or research military tech. And then similarly, steward can administer your realm. So every once in a while you get events. So your realm's improved, you can specifically have them collect taxes, oversee construction, research. Your spy masters can scheme, sabotage a province, build a spy network, which will usually just increase the power of your plots, and you can study technology, so you can send them somewhere else. Usually the best place to do it is Byzantium or Constantinople. Which they didn't add in the game originally. So when they added these like little special buildings, they didn't consider the Hagia Sophia that important until the community complained. And then your court chaplain can find apostates, so he looks for heretics in your court, and then you can burn them at the stake for a bit of piety. You can convert provinces to your religion, you can research, or you can go to Rome and talk to the Pope and tell the Pope who you are. I wouldn't go do that, because that's the most useful thing you can do. And then we have minor titles. So designated regent, if you become incapacitated, who becomes head of, who takes over ruling things while you're gone. I am probably going to pick, let's see here. Okay, why not? I'll make my advisor. So certain conditions, you'll have extra council members that get to vote. So when you're changing laws, they get to vote. When you're changing laws, they get to vote, decide whether or not you so I'm going to make an advisor. And then court position, you get sick. People didn't know about germs and stuff back then, so what's in there? I'm going to send him to like it. Make him like me a little bit more, so he doesn't poison me. And your commanders for your
I'm just checking the stream health. Can you turn the volume down on the game? It was very, very loud. Like those sword swipes is like ear shattering. Okay, that is much better.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. Hope that helps. Let me know if if there's any more audio stuff you guys want looked at.
This is your technology screen, so it's always based off of where your capital is. Technology did not advance very greatly in the Middle Ages, as you might imagine, because very few people could read. But they get little bonuses and they unlock new buildings and stuff in the economy. Military advances make your troops better, and you can build more ships if you have better shipbuilding. And then culture advances. Legalism lets you, as you can see, unlock sort of new little laws to use. Tolerance, majesty, and stuff give you little bonuses. So every level of noble customs increases your vassal's opinion. Popular customs increases your city vassals. Religious increases your church vassals. Then we have our military screen. We can raise our troops here. This was back before the days of standing armies, so when you go to war, you want to call your troops up from your levies.
I should just read a story about how that's how, 1,000 years later, how Prussia became so powerful is they actually had a standing army.
Yep. Frederick the Great was one of the first ones to institute a standing army.
Yeah.
You can build retinues, which are basically like a standing army. They are very expensive to maintain, though. They're added by the legacy of Rome expansion. Maybe there might be in republics, too. I can't remember. And then intrigue. So you have all the decisions you can make. So one of our decisions is to reform the Holy Roman Empire. So our prestige needs to be 1,000. We need to be king of Germany and king of Italy. And we need to have a personal wealth of at least $292. Or geldings, whatever it would be. And there's other ones. Promote commander, gives you a new commander to use. Holy men, nobles, present debutante, gives you a young lady. So if your court's empty and you can't find anyone to fulfill a certain role, there's little events you can do. And you pay some gold or some prestige. You can compose a book, hold a feast. Feasts and summer fairs are good. Feasts make your nobles happy. Summer fairs make your peasants happy. You can borrow money from the Jewish merchants. And then expel the Jews. And be a real jerk. So borrow money and then kick them out of your kingdom. It's not a nice thing to do. You take some penalties. And all the Jewish characters obviously will dislike you. And then you can get smiths and buy an indulgence. Because Martin Luther hasn't pointed out that that's a too stupid thing yet. Factions would appear, so your vassals can join factions, usually to change laws or overthrow you, and then the religion screen. So, Leo the 7th is Pope. These are all the vassal bishops I have, and then this is the College of Cardinals who pick the next Pope. And if you want, you can put money towards making one of your vassals become a cardinal, and if he becomes Pope, he basically just listens to you. It'll also show you moral authority. So the Middle Ages were a big time of religious change in Europe. So we have, let's say, over here in Hungary, we have Zoltar Bed, who is Tengri, worships the sky. So this is the same religion as the Mongols, essentially. And then we have the Slavs over here, and the Remuva, and then of course the Aesatru, the Germanic pagans. The Vikings. And then down here with the Fatimids and such, you have the religious. So this guy is Shia. This guy is Sunni. So Shia and Sunni will usually not fight each other if there's an infidel to fight, but eventually they'll just fight each other. And then, if over here in boring old India, you have the Hindu and Jains or Buddhists. There's a Buddhist. And then this guy is Bon, the Chinese religion. Okay, so those are the basics. And then finally we have societies. I'll talk about them when they come up. I usually don't do too much with the societies unless I make someone join Lucifer's Own, which is the Satanic Society. So we have our laws, realm laws. So investiture, does the Pope get to pick your bishops or do you? Popes don't like it when you pick free investiture. Realm inheritance. Somebody, let's say the King of the King of England inherits one of one of the vassals of the King of England inherits a territory inside my country. If this is free, he'll get it. If it's illegal, someone else, it'll stay within my territory. You can control whether or not your vassals can declare war on each other or just externally. And then centralization controls how much you can fit in your domain. So we're going to call a vote to increase centralization. And then obligations is, do they give you money or the troops? So normally you want your nobles to give you troops and your burghers and your church to give you more money. And then finally, what the council can do. So the council right now only gets to vote on war declarations. So I can't declare, I can declare war on people the council doesn't want me to declare war on, but they get very mad at me, and then they can join factions. So that's one of the reasons you put people on your council. They're powerful. They can't join a faction to work against you. Okay. So other alerts we have our special title actions. This is basically you can pick something to be your focus. So we're going to pick Magdeburg for right now. And this basically would just mean it'll get a little bit of increase in prosperity. So there's no major modifiers right now. There's no hospital either. You can build hospitals to fight off diseases. And 2 of our children need a childhood focus. So Wilhelm isn't particularly good at anything yet. So we're going to just put him into heritage. So it's German culture and Catholic faith. Nothing special. But the guy we want to be our heir, let's make him struggle. So he gets rowdy and willful. Rowdy occasionally becomes brawny, honest, dull, or uncouth, and then willful. So they get childhood traits, which turn into adult traits.
Right. So you're directing their life path, so that way when they become of age, they are, they can follow in your footsteps.
Yeah. So it changes basically what education trait they get. So
Gotcha.
their base stats.
Okay.
So we are pretty much ready to unpause. Half an hour into the stream.
Yeah, half an hour in.
Yeah,
and
I told you it would take a while.
Yeah.
So we could invade. So let's have a look at Hugo of Italy. So he has about 6,000 troops, but he doesn't have any alliances.
So looking at the counter real quick, it looks like a day is about a second?
Yeah, at this speed.
Okay.
So there's 5 speeds. We're at the lowest right now.
Yeah.
I like to play at the lowest, but I'm just looking around figuring stuff out, and then we'll speed it up once I have a plan in place.
Mm-hmm.
So we're probably going to invade this guy. He has 6,000. We have 7,500. I'm going to let my wealth increase a bit. I'm going to speed up a little. I'm also going to look into murdering my brother, who has that county that I would inherit. Now, if you get caught murdering someone in your family, you get a trait called fratricide.
What's if your brother?
Your brother. I can't remember the exact... Kinslayer is the word. So we can see we might want to not try to kill him, because our initial plot power is 35, and our possible plot power of all the people we could get together to help us kill this guy is only 58%. So maybe not. We'll just let him live for now.
Lucky him.
Yeah. As you can see, their armies are going up as ours are. We might want to find something else first. Anyway, I'm going to leave you doing that. Oh. Hey, Thankmar is rebelling against us. So, my beloved older brothers raised an army to topple my rule over the Germans. Surprised everyone at court. Though surprised everyone at court, the man has always had an ambitious streak.
So this is an unexpected event.
Yep, this is one of Otto's events. So
Okay.
this happened in real life.
Okay.
So, we are going to stay paused. Let's pick a new chancellor. Because whoever our chancellor was before has sided with him. So you can see Dirk here doesn't like us very much. We can figure out why. He wants a bunch of our territory. So that's not going to happen. So we're not going to make him a chancellor. Let's make Meinhard our chancellor because he's very good at it. And let's set a rally point for our troops. So let's have all of our troops gather in Magdeburg, Münster, and Schwaben. And then we raise our troops. You always want to get your troops all together at first. And then from there, meet your enemies. And then once they're in their doom stacks, we can march them down. In fact, right now, I'm going to march into this territory. So this is how battles look. It's not particularly exciting. You basically just watch the numbers change. And there we go. We've won a battle, lost a battle. You always want to make sure you group your dudes together and put in a commander.
This is very, like, I've played a few of the older Paradox games, like Europa Universalis and things like that. So it's very much the same, like, it's the same UI in a lot of ways, right? Like, it's...
Yeah, and there's a lot of changes have happened over the last little bit that have made Crusader Kings a bit more like Europa Universalis. So we're also going to take the fight to them here in Paderborn.
That was one of my... I had... growing up, I played a lot of games like real-time strategy games, Command and Conquer, StarCraft, Warcraft, and then when I got into grand strategy games, and just seeing like the people basically marching towards another county in real time, I was like, wow, this is a very different way to look at strategy. You have to really change the way you think of things. Things aren't going to happen essentially immediately. There's a lot of planning ahead that goes into really any decision you make. You can't adjust on the fly as much as in those types of games.
Yeah, so when you have battles, you'll get little events like this, so that let you pick up new traits. I'm going to pick flat terrain. And as you can see, even though we're outnumbered, because we have Otto is an amazing commander, he has crushed the enemy army, and within a matter of days, we win. So the battle of good again. They ended up with... They still have more troops, but we still beat them. Give me just a sec here.
So it's not just... I mean, you probably could just mass an army that is insurmountably larger, but since you are a better commander...
And then if terrain comes into play here, you can see, so these two... This one, the Duke of Franconia is going to get a bonus because there's hills in this province. And here, he's going to take a penalty because he has to cross a river to get to it. So if you expand these out, it'll show you the terrain. There's also where your hospitals, forts, and trade posts, but those haven't come up yet. So you win wars by fighting battles and then sieging down their capital or their territories in general.
Gotcha.
So as my troops group up, I'm going to lump them together into armies. So these guys as well. And put... See, my marshal can lead troops too. Put him in charge of this. Oh, yeah. 2 turns, you up. I can't really hear anything. I can hear it through the mic, but that's it.
Not sure how to fix that.
That's fine.
The audio is coming through nice on the stream. It actually picked up the cat meowing 2 rooms over.
That's good.
So,
Can we get rid of this no signal nonsense?
Yeah.
We definitely have signal. Hey!
that doesn't come up on their stream, by the way.
Yeah, no, I know.
No.
So I'm going to send this army down to Weinberg to siege that, and these guys are going to... Actually, no, they're far enough north that maybe they'll come help out.
So the territory that has the red and black outline, that's what's rebelling right now?
Yeah, so the outline is always based on your flag. So the German revolt is... Well, revolts are always black and red. Okay, so everybody's together again. Let's see. So we're going to take out these guys, and then we're going to start sieging down some territory. Hey, we captured one of my rebelling vassals in prison. Good time to talk about what you can do to your prisoners. So, I can torture him, I can humiliate him, I can just straight up kill him, I can ask him for ransom, I can throw him in the oubliette, which is French for to forget.
Yeah, you put him in a hole. And
you put him in a hole, put a rock over it. You can also, if you want to be nice, put him in house arrest. Now, I'm probably not going to kill him because his heir is another one of the dukes. Who is currently on my... actually not on my side, maybe? No, he is. So let's see what happens if I kill him. Hey! My brother just lost most of his support. That's fun. So you can see it used to take up a big whole bunch. And now it's just one province. Plus this guy up here. So sometimes it pays to be the tyrant. So we're going to go siege down Braunschweig and see if we can get them to surrender. And while we do that, I'm going to order us a pizza.
Nice. So this is, I guess this is really a kind of game where it's, you know, in this stream we're going to go on for a few hours here because it's the kind of game that isn't, I guess it doesn't have a lot of instantaneous rewards. You're making these grand plans for your eventual conquest of things.
I would counter that with saying I got a pretty instant gratification when I cut that guy's head off.
All right, fair. Yeah.
So it all depends on what you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
But it's a long game. It takes time. Like when you asked how long do you normally play for, I was like, ooh, like I have spent entire days playing Crusader games.
Yeah.
Just gonna plug my phone in charge. But it definitely is a game that you benefit a lot from planning once you know the mechanics. So another thing that frequently happens, if you don't have a lot of traits, you will get little events like this. So Otto is feeling awkward and discomfortable around people. So either he doesn't want to meet any new people, he might become shy if we pick that one, or he'll have to try to become more gregarious, and he might become gregarious, but he also might become stressed. So we're going to try to be gregarious. Hey, he picked up the gregarious trait.
Is that a guaranteed, like, if you pick that, he will get that?
It's a 50% chance.
A 50% chance.
So now he gets +2 to diplomacy, +5 to attraction opinion, +5 to his vassal opinion, and anybody else that's gregarious also likes him a little bit more. Oh, my court chaplain had some success in Rome. The Pope likes me a little bit more.
That's good. That's an ally you'd want.
You can ask him for money. You can ask him for invasions and claims on other people's titles.
So on that list, some of them were in blue and some were in gray. Does that mean
blue you can do, gray you don't meet. So I can't form an alliance because I don't have a relative married to him.
Gotcha.
And popes are technically landless. So yeah, and then sieges work like this. You see we have our attacking morale and defending morale. You can assault them. Assault holdings, you generally don't want to unless you have warded them down and have a lot more troops. We're also being raided somewhere. I guess he wandered off. Yeah, we're just going to siege this down for a little bit. My army enters Braunschweig. Any sense of discipline is lost. The men start to burn, rob, and pillage. Have their fun. Wait for me, or I will stop this and hang the culprits.
So this was a fairly common occurrence back in this time because again you didn't have a standing army. So if you couldn't pay your army or you just had a poorly organized force, they would win a siege of a city and then just take it for themselves.
Yeah. So again, to make connections to Game of Thrones, when they break down the gates to King's Landing and everyone just starts slaughtering everybody, yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Now I am a nice, kind king, so I am going to stop this at once. You see, we still only have...
But only kind of your people.
Yeah, only kind of my people. So what modifier? I got strong leader from that. So you get little modifiers as well as your traits. So they're just temporary. So I have this for 10 years.
Okay.
And as you can see, little tiny, less significant things happen up in the corner. And even less significant. So these message settings, you can set what messages do. You'll get little tooltips when you have stuff you need to take care of. I'm missing commanders, so I want to make other people... What I'll do is I will promote a commander. So it's like, hey, we found this guy. Is he what you want? He is. He has good stats.
And so that's the message settings. That's so you don't get bombarded with little like day-to-day happenings and
like people joining and leaving and joining and leaving. Like otherwise, you'll get a pop-up every time someone tries to raid you. And if you are anywhere near pagans, you get raided. It just happens.
Right.
Especially if you play in England. Which is a nice little thematic thing. Now, assaults of cities and churches are a little easier, so I'm just going to siege this. And almost instantly take it. Alright, we're still at 84 because he's still got some support. I'm going to take care of these raiders. Make sure I have good commanders before I do that. And then when it turns red here, this is something you can turn off. You see the little lock as well.
Yeah.
Basically, you've moved more than halfway towards the province, and you can't turn around at that point.
Gotcha.
You can see here my vassals in Bremen are coming to help me fight off the raiders. Which is nice. And what else is going on up here?
Those raiders are coming from Denmark?
Denmark, or just there's somewhere off in the... Where is he? He's John's host, so he's the host. He's an adventurer. So this is something added by, I think, Old Gods. Sometimes adventurers will gain claims on your title, and you'll get notice saying, like, hey, someone's preparing to invade you. And then you'll see them operating to get funding to do that. Well, that's why. Alright, we beat them, but my brother's troops are besieging my southern territory, so let's head down there. We're going to speed time up a little. You can even see the rivers thaw and stuff. It's pretty cool. These thicker rivers, if you're a Viking, you can sail up them.
I was gonna say like it's there's like the more you zoom in and like as the little details pop in, like it's a very detailed map. Like it I know like
if you want to destroy your frame rate, you can even just play on a terrain map and you'll see the snow come in and out.
Oh wow.
But again, I don't want to destroy my frame rate. This is another relatively new thing: is mass conversions. So Hungary has converted to Catholicism.
And they were
Tengri.
Tengri, right?
So they worshipped the Great Blue Sky. Another little battle event. So we found a cool guy from Braunschweig. We can spend 117 gold and get a bunch of military technique, but we need all of our troops. Sorry, buddy. I don't have that much money right now. I might once I kill my brother. I'm just gonna get rid of these.
So, you played this game quite often. Would you say this is a kind of game where it's you could recommend it to someone who is maybe looking to get into this genre, or like should they start somewhere else?
Oh yeah, don't start with Europa Universalis. It's friggin' impossible to figure out. Crusader Kings is my favorite Paradox game. I'll put it that way. I might even like it more than Stellaris.
I was gonna say like you talk about Stellaris a lot.
I play a lot of Stellaris.
Yeah.
This is, I would say, the goal is much clearer. Get territory, right? Don't die. If you want to put in delivery information for pizza. Sure. So we have reached 100% war score. So we have defeated our brother, essentially. We've won 64% of the battles and occupied 37%. So we're going to offer him some peace. We're going to enforce our demands, and he is imprisoned along with any of his supporters. Thankmeyer is in chains. My once great older brother looks haggard and tired as he stands in front of me. I finally ask the gods to take him away. For now. There's no celebration because this is nothing but a tragedy. So we still have a lot to do, gameplay-wise. But I gained 500 prestige from that war.
Wow. And that was the rebellion that had started with your brother.
Yeah. I probably shouldn't have dismissed my dudes. Anyway, we're just all going to come to Magdeburg. Just raise my levies again because I want them to fight off these stupid... Ooh. Oh, the raiders are gone. Never mind. But now there's a peasant revolt. Hooray!
Never a dull moment in medieval Germany.
Yeah, so there's a lot of media that makes feudalism and the Middle Ages in general seem like this really cool, fun time to be alive. It wasn't. It was horrible for everybody except for the king. I'll get a Canadian pizza since it's Canada Day Eve.
No, very patriotic, sure.
That's me. There is a mod where you can play in North America after a big nuclear war.
Oh, wow, that's a very big mod. Then it's not even thematically tied to the rest of the game.
There's a Game of Thrones mod too.
Well, that's always been a real strength of Paradox games, right? Is that
it's the modability?
the modding community?
There is a space mod. It's not great in my experience, but well, my daughter's of age. She's gonna learn some humility, so she becomes a nice diplomat. All right, now finally. Peasant revolt is done. Okay. Whoa, don't want to go that fast.
So all this time, you've been in the game has been in play, I would say, for about 15, 20 minutes now. Was it 2 years have gone by?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just about.
Just
a year and a half, maybe.
Year and a half.
Actually, so yeah, we can even see. The game was started on the 7th of August, 936. It is now 13th of January, 939.
Right. Just to give an idea of how the progression happens and how many events can happen in an amount of time. And like you said, this is going to go up to 1450 something, right?
1454, I think.
Yeah. So if you were going all the way from the starting point to the end, you could be at this for a very long time.
Yeah, I've never played all the way to the end. I usually get too bored. You do eventually get to a point where you're kind of unstoppable. They've put in a fair amount of things to stop blobbing, as they call it. You'll notice probably a few more years in, we'll get to a point where just the Muslim countries are just unstoppable, which is normal. Yeah, okay, that works for me. Do you want wings or anything? Pizza, cheesy bread?
Maybe Coke?
Yeah, I got Coke.
Oh, it's up to you. Cool. We're not sponsored by anyone, but Domino's 50% off deal is a very good deal.
It's a great deal.
They've gotten a lot of my money. But again, we're not sponsored. If Domino's is listening,
Domino's wants to start giving us free stuff. We were gonna go with Taco Bell, but they didn't offer us any free stuff.
Yeah. You're gonna get a cease and desist.
Okay, so we have a couple prisoners from that war. They all do not like us very much. So we have our brother. And we have Hartman, who's probably just one of the... Yeah, looks like he was one of the commanders. And Bernhard, same thing. Just some nobody. Oh no, Bernhard was the peasant leader. So one of the things they've added recently is mass executions. So I've checked off that I don't want to kill my brother or the count that helped him rebel, but we're going to kill a couple of people. And there's even death sounds.
I heard that.
It's a lot of fun when you kill like 20 or 30 people at once because they all play all at once.
Oh, all at once.
Yeah, all the different ways that they get killed. So it used to just be that it was executed, but this guy was hanged. This guy was stoned to death.
So that reminds me a lot of played a lot of Red Alert 2, and the game is very animated in its sounds and its death animations especially so. But I'll always remember when you take the Desolator unit and you melt a bunch of people down with your radioactive goo, and they all melt all at once, and your speakers basically just screech out. That's what that sounded like, and I could just imagine that 20 times over.
Okay, so another story event. The traitor in Lorraine. The traitor is Duke Gilbert of Lorraine left our services at the death of our esteemed father Henry. They now turn the protection of the Carlins in West Francia to aid us, asking for aid against us. Not only have they forsaken our ancient services to our rule, but spies tell us Juba has been conspiring with traitorous lords of the realm. The insult is too much to bear. So I got a strong claim if I take this, or we can just honor it. I'm going to take the strong claim. We don't actually go to war. Or we do go to war. Okay. So if we go to war, we're going to be fighting France, who has quite a fair number of dudes. But so do we. Why not? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Let's crack some skulls.
And in real life, France is a major power at this time because they are one of the more unified kingdoms.
Yeah, and ditto, same thing. So it was the Holy Roman Empire, and then it started to, like, basically one of the things you run into, and you realize why the Middle Ages lasted so long, because anytime the king died, it got split up between all of his kids. So, and then the kids would fight, and then basically part of the problem Germany had and why it wasn't a country for a very long time is that it just kept splitting apart and fighting itself. And then Bismarck was like, what if we stopped doing that? So
until the Prussians came and unified everything again.
The Prussians and the Austro-Hungarians, and there was the North German Federation.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's several hundred years away. So, the Duke of Bremen wants one of my vassals. I am going to impress him with vague promises, because I don't want him to do that. So, we are now at war again. So, let's pick a better rally point. So, we're at war. Let's switch to the diplomatic view so you can see in the red. We're not actually at war with the French yet.
So, what does yellow mean then?
Yellow means potential target.
Okay. But not full-on hostile, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to wait for our troops to all get together in Marburg, over near Frankfurt. Oh, but he called the King of France in. All right. So we are going to do something a little cheeky. We're going to borrow some money from the Jews. And hire some mercenaries. Hire some Bulgarians. So this happens a little thing every once in a while. Your spy master will be like, hey, I found some dirt on somebody. We could threaten them and get them to not join factions. I usually take him up on it. Okay, so there's a shitload of dudes here. Let's go into Berg and hopefully defeat these dudes.
So you just hired some Hungarian mercenaries. Hungary is quite a ways away. Would it take them a long time to get to?
Yep, so they spawn. I believe actually these guys were the Bulgarians. Yeah, Bulgarian band. So they spawn your capital.
Oh, okay. So that's not too bad. It's not like they had to march all the way
If they had
across.
to walk all the way from over here, yeah, that would suck. So one of the funny things with the AI is if it's a landlocked country, like Crusades haven't started yet, but when they do, I'll talk about them. So they'll get a crusade for like the Holy Land, but you'll be like, the Count of Poitiers. So you'll just have your dude walk from Poitiers over here. Yeah. Oh, wait to the Holy Land because you don't have any boats. Which is a little silly, in my opinion. But limitations of the engine and such.
Right.
All right. So we're continuing to fight. I probably should have picked better generals, but oh well.
I know none of this is happening right now, but does naval warfare work the same way?
There's no naval warfare.
There is no naval warfare. Gotcha.
Which is a little dumb, but it would have been an engine rework to put it in, so they didn't.
Right. So if you play as England, then how do you project power?
England spends most of its time uniting the Isles and forming the Empire of Britannia.
Okay.
And dealing with the fact that the Anglo-Saxons are a different culture group. So you can see they're West Germanic, but if I go to, like, let's say the King of Mumu, Munster, he's Irish, he's Celtic. So the Celts, if you have a different culture group, so it's the thing in brackets, then one of your vassals, you get the foreigner malice.
Gotcha.
So they don't like you as much. They think you're weird.
I just noticed there was all those ocean tiles are split up, so it would have made sense to
Yeah,
be
so
able to
it moves a little bit. So it takes time, right?
Right.
So you have to go through all these to get places. EU4 adds in combat, like European Universalis 4, but there isn't any in Crusader Kings.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like ships are just for transporting troops.
Just for transport. Okay, well that's what I meant. Like you can traverse the ocean.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, in England, you just unite your islands every single time and go from there.
You want me to release this dickhole, who absolutely not diplomatically explain why I cannot, and then execute him? Oh no, people will be mad if I do that. I'm not going to do that. Can I banish him? People will also be mad if I banish him. What if I ransom him for 70 gold? Yeah. He can't afford it, so he's staying in prison. Like I am a very much a left-leaning liberal person in real life, but when I am king, whoo, I am not. So
well, that's the joy of video games. Like I play a lot of fantasy games. I'm never going to run out there with a sword and fight a monster, but
yeah.
It's the fantasy fulfillment, right?
Ooh, we pulled some people out of their hidey holes.
I also don't think there was a lot of left-leaning liberal kings in the Middle Ages.
No. What's like that scene in, was it Holy Grail, the anarchist collective? But I'm king. I didn't vote for you. So just ransomed a nobody just to get a little bit of gold. Oh, there's the French. Let's get them.
So they're marching across the Rhine into your...
Yeah, and if I want to try and meet them, I'll be crossing the Rhine as well. So screw that. And now we're going to meet them in a way that we don't take a penalty.
Right. You let them cross the river. They get the penalty, and now you...
Yeah, so there's a certain degree of tactics, like strategy that comes into it on the big picture end. So this Hataria is plain, so it's flat, so I'll get my bonus. My armies will be inspired by me. And here we go. Let's see what happens.
So your army size is like double theirs right now.
Yeah.
Almost.
So we're probably going to win. But again, it all depends on who runs out of morale first.
Gotcha.
And you can see, so there's 3 phases. There's skirmish, there's charge, I believe, and then there is pursue and retreat. So this is another thing, duels come up. So, catching my breath, look, it's the king itself, someone shouts. Haha, I'll do you myself. Let's do it, and we defeat him. Nice. Just got spill onto the ground, he does not rise again.
Ooh, that's very visceral as a description.
Well, you can also castrate and blind people in this game.
Oh,
so.
okay, so that's a mild. That's mild.
This is pretty mild, yeah. Or like, there's like one of the ways you execute people. Again, it's always random, but one of the ways that you can is you throw them into a snake pit. So literally just a pit full of snakes. So I killed their commander, so one of their flanks doesn't have a commander anymore, and it's the only one they have left, so they're probably going to lose here.
Well, congratulations, you defeated... It looks like you're about to defeat the French.
But that's the thing, I won't destroy them completely. They'll get to retreat and probably come back, and this guy is now sieging the territories I've taken. So in the middle of the battle, you see a boy wearing the same color as I. The fierce expression on his face when he is struck down. I feel a pang of guilt. He reminds me of my son Wilhelm. We must remember to attend to our wounded or charge for Germany! Aus Deutschland! So, there we go. Now I've gained the Wrath trait, which means I'm quick to anger. You can see here, let me pause for a sec. It's one of the 7 deadly sins. Extra martial, but lose intrigue and diplomacy, which is fine. I'm going for a martial character anyway. So I'll march over the Rhine into Lune, and then turn and go down to Coelen. Coelen, maybe?
Where?
Coelen. It's across the river from, like, Cologne's got to be around here somewhere if it's the Rhine.
Because that's the
this is Cologne. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the Netherlands right there.
That's the Netherlands, and this is Cologne. Am I clipping every time I do my silly voice?
No, actually, our views go up every time. Or how many people are watching? It jumps up a little.
And then easily defeat these dinguses.
Shut up and stay on the couch.
Ooh, another duel.
Ooh.
Philip, one of my commanders, pushes me out of the way with his club foot and kills the guy for me.
That's what I've always appreciated about this game every time you talk
Hold on
about
a
it.
sec. Hello?
So that's what I was going to say. One thing I really appreciate about this game is that they throw in like these little details that are just really interesting. Like, oh, this guy has a club foot. It's
number 6 on 6.
355 Victoria Road North.
355 Victoria, sorry.
Apartment 6.
And then apartment 6.
Sorry about that. But yeah, like the details, like, he has a club foot. Does that matter?
Yeah, women or men find you less attractive, and you're worse at combat.
Okay. My thinking was that it was just kind of like a little like flavor text.
No, any trait like that does stuff. So I don't have any inbred children yet, but I imagine that'll happen eventually.
Well, the Middle Ages were kind of known for dynasties.
Yeah, and like there is to an extent a certain level of medieval eugenics that you can do, where if you find people with like the strong or quick or attractive trait, you probably want to marry your kids to them, and if it just so happens the person you find is one of your kids, you just don't do it too many times or else you get the inbred trait. So we are going to march into Trier, split the army up, and send one of them to go fight this dingus over here. These troops. So we've broken the enemy's main force. At this point, it's probably just going to be sieging them down, which will take a little bit. And you get little siege info. So, the petty noble from Middlesex is here being a dingus. I'm going to complain to the King of England. Hope he's not caused too much trouble. Okay, sweet. So you can see Athelstan here is wearing a mask because he has been disfigured. So he takes diplomacy and attraction drop.
Gotcha. I do like how his response is basically, thanks for letting me know, I'll follow up. It's very like...
yeah, it's the same response I give my clients.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I personally would be upset about that too, had I experienced that level of customer service. But when they complain, you can also just ignore them and tell them to shut up. I'm like, deal with it. I don't care.
So I guess you would also get those complaints coming in about your vassals and lords and whatnot.
Exactly, and then you can choose how to respond. You can respond like soothingly, or say like, "Nah, you're making that up." So these holdings have been looted, so they don't have any troops or much gold in them.
So, question on these responses: are they instantaneous, or is it middle-age response time?
It takes a few days.
It takes a few days. Gotcha.
So anytime you make a request or like try to do something diplomatic with somebody, all their diplomatic options will be grayed out until they respond, and it takes a few days.
Gotcha.
So like when I'll propose a marriage, for example. So actually, let's do that right now, because our son is not engaged to anyone, so we can set up a patrol. Hey, the Duchess of Swabia is also 10 years old, so is he. There we go.
Where's Swabia?
Swabia is down here. Actually, what we can do, want something that's handy, I talked about de jure. There's a de jure map mode. Shows you what all the de jure duchies are, de jure kingdoms, de jure empires.
Nice.
So it's a handy way of knowing where things are.
So you've split your armies into two now because you broke their main force, and now you're kind of pushing them back into Francia.
Yeah, so right now I'm sieging down territories that they have in the Lorraine, and kind of just waiting for the French to come back. Why aren't they? Because this guy down here, Arles, has declared war on them, so he's keeping them occupied. So one of the very important things to do when you figure out who you want to declare war on is this little special interest button. So it gives you a little bit of information every time they do something. Or you can sway or antagonize them. I'm going to antagonize the king of France, because fuck that guy.
Well, he's being attacked from the north and the south, so
he's split up.
Yeah.
Where's the guy from Thuringia? As you can see, Schwabia, I want to keep them on my good side because they're huge. So this is direct vassals. This isn't like what duchies exist. This is who controls what in your kingdom.
Gotcha.
So Swabia controls more land than I do.
So we're being quiet, guys. Food showed up, so we're just gonna pick that up now. But yeah, this is our Crusader Kings 2 stream. I'm going to be doing a lot more streaming in the next little while. Not just Crusader Kings 2, but I have a whole bunch of other games. Personally, I'm going to be playing Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning on the PlayStation 3. Got my PlayStation 3 all set up, good to go. So very shortly going to be streaming that as well, probably a couple of days' time. Then I'm also going to be playing some Super Mario Maker 2, getting the handle on that one. There's going to be a lot of Smash Bros, very popular one here at Link Cable, so going to be a lot of streaming coming up soon, so make sure you click like, subscribe, and yeah, check
that motherfucking like button.
Yeah, do that. But yeah, so we're going to be doing a lot of streams, all types of games. So Crusader Kings 2 is one of them. We also play a lot of platformers, fighting games, RPGs, really anything. So actually, if there's anything you want us to play, let us know in the comments below. We'll make sure to try to play it if we have it, I guess, or try to find it. But yeah, so hope you guys are enjoying the stream. I know there's a couple of you guys watching, so hope you guys are having fun as we push into France. And so let's say you took a territory from France, does it automatically become yours, or do you have to negotiate the...
So it's not like EU where you can just occupy a bunch of stuff. So right now this war is for the Duchy of Upper Lorraine, Duchy of Lower Lorraine, in the county of Saint-Ouen. So you're declaring war for a specific reason when you declare war in Crusader Kings.
Gotcha. So you're not just declaring war and then just like...
Well, whatever I end up occupying, I'll take. You saying, no, I'm going to invade you for this duchy, this county, this title, because that's how government ownership worked, right?
Yeah.
Back in those days. Oh, my wife's pregnant.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I hope she survives it.
One of those unknowns of the era, right?
Yeah, well, it's funny because I don't know if this is still a thing. I can't remember if it was a bug or they decided it was okay. If when you're born, you kill your mother in childbirth, you get the kinslayer trait.
Oh, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, the original argument from the devs was, "What? You did kill her?"
But no. Like, yes, but no.
So this is taking longer than I expected.
Well,
so war score, basically, you have to occupy things within the actual area of that. You can't just besiege, I can't just go and invade Paris at this point.
Right.
It won't help me.
So on the note of Paradox listening and patching things in, would you say they're a good publisher for listening to their fans and
usually, yeah,
changing their games to match?
There have been a few things that like the Hagia Sophia at first, they're like, no guys, it only became popular after it became the Blue Mosque, we're not putting it in. And eventually it's still gigantic and it's still a great work. This is fun. Your character decides that now that his wife is pregnant, she's even hotter. So let's go bang our wife.
It's those little details, right?
Yeah. I mean, we haven't had the horses or anything come up yet. Those are also fun.
I think you were telling me about this, how you can assign horses to positions of government.
Yeah, if you have the lunatic trait.
Kind of how Nero did it, right?
Caligula.
Caligula.
But yeah, that's basically what they lifted it from, is you're nuts, so you make your horse chancellor of the realm.
Yeah, it was telling Jacob a bit about this game before we started the stream, and that was one of my first stories. I was like, yeah, and you can make your horse like positions of power, and he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, look up Caligula. He made him a priest.
Oh, someone. Oh, one of my. One of my vassals has declared a holy war against the Hungarians. Looks like the turning Christian didn't. Oh, it lasted until the guy died, basically.
So he became a Christian, but he died. And
he died, and his son, who was still a pagan, took the throne. So now the country's pagan again. And the French have just not come back. Well, sucks to suck.
So, you said earlier this is your first time playing as Germany. Would and now France isn't coming back. Is that a will always happen thing, or is that more of
no? It's all up to the AI. I think the AI just got distracted by the fact they were being invaded by two things at once.
Right. So the AI isn't always doing the same moves every game you're playing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like there's a couple things like at the main start date. There's a war between the Holy Roman Empire and the French that happens every time because it's a territory they have disputed. And as soon as they have enough power, they'll do it. But generally, things kind of go off the rails. Like there's an achievement for setting up a Viking settlement in India. There's an achievement for the Muslims taking over Scandinavia,
which would be very just distance-wise. That would be very.
Yeah, but it happens.
Yeah. Well, again, reading on history, recently I've been on a history kick, and I guess the Vikings had gotten all the way down to Budapest at some point.
Yep. And, well, they actually got all the way to Constantinople because there's the Varangian Guard. Let me see. He should have the Varangian Guard in here somewhere, unless he hasn't vassalized them yet. Looks like he hasn't. I don't think the Varangians exist yet. Let me see.
I think this was a few 100 years later.
Yeah, no, the Varangian Guard, you can organize them as early as like the Viking start date. It's basically the bunch of Vikings ended up in the Byzantine Empire, and the emperor was like, "Shea, you want to work for me?" So we've reached 100% war score. We can offer peace. We can enforce our demands, and boom! Look at all that territory we just collected.
Nice. So that's now officially part of your territory. You can collect taxes on it. You can.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're now threatening. We have a threat of 50%. Holy crap! So while your threat's high, people can start forming defensive pacts against you.
Right, and like just geographically, right now you are very large.
Yeah.
Is France still at war with Arles, or however it's pronounced?
Arles, whatever it is. Yes, they are.
Yeah. So France probably isn't very interested in you right now. Other than
they're probably feeling a little threatened, and he's above 0. But our biggest problem is our vassal limit. So we can have 25 vassals and we have 29, but a lot of that is all of this crap here. So we ended up taking all of those duchies that we invaded, right?
Yeah.
So we want to find the guy that likes us the most in there. Probably not the dude we just invaded, and probably someone with the content trait. You know what? Let's make. Krillin. There we go. And then Upper Lorraine. Do we have anybody other than the dude? Okay, look at this guy, Upper Lorraine. So it's always a good idea to delegate. A smaller group of vassals is always easier to control. This is kind of a masterstroke here. I didn't even notice she had that much territory when I betrothed her, but she controls two of the biggest duchies in Germany. And now she's betrothed to my son. So we have a non-aggression pact. I can't act against her. She can't act against me.
So your stats in the top upper right-hand corner, are those ever modifiable? Like, could you have more increase your vassal limit?
Yeah. So that's all down to technology and your centralization laws.
Gotcha.
Yeah, cool. So we won that. We won that war. And do you want to take a little break?
Sure. Yeah, we're going to take a little pause here. So I'll be back on in a few minutes, or I don't know how long it'll take. Maybe we'll be back on later. I'll make sure to tweet out and Facebook when we are. So